The meeting will be recorded, and this presentation together with the recording will be published on our website after this meeting, so you will be able to watch it again and to send it also to colleagues. We will also inform you that in the next upcoming weeks, there will be more info sessions at the national level in national languages. In case you have questions, you're very welcome to either raise your hand using the specific function under the button, the reaction buttons, and or you can type your question in the chat. We kindly invite you to wait until the end of the presentation, where we will dedicate at least 1 hour to answer your questions. So I think it's time to start. And let me introduce myself. My name is Sofia Corsi, and I represent RescuPU, which is the European Federation of Energy Communities. And I'm also working in RescuPU as the coordinator of the European Energy Communities Facility. Today with me, we will have Miriam Castagnet, who is representing GNE Finance, our partner in the facility in charge of designing the granting scheme. Let's start from the beginning. Our program is funded by the European Union under the LIFE program. It is a pilot initiative that has the very ambitious goal of empowering energy communities across Europe. Concretely, we want to support at least 140 energy communities to develop and implement a solid business plan. We start from the, so why do we have a facility in the first place? So first thing, it's important to let you know that this facility is also capitalizing on the successful experiences of 3 previous projects, including the European City Facility that some of you may have heard of, and also the European Energy Communities Repository and the Rural Advisory Hub. And so we have really tried to take the best practices from these 3 previous initiatives, and we have merged them into this facility. We have created a facility because we are aware that energy communities across Europe are facing very similar challenges, despite their size and despite where they're based. Of course, there are more difficult challenges in some countries, but overall, we know that in general, usually members of energy communities have several problems of, for example, the fact that they are volunteers, so they only have very limited capacity to dedicate to energy communities, and therefore they lack capacity. They sometimes are not aware of the existing financing opportunities and funding opportunities available for them at their national level, or sometimes they don't just have the skills and the knowledge on how, or the time on how to engage in these opportunities. Sometimes they're just even too small to be able to use some of the existing opportunities. And therefore, the facility is literally trying to fill this gap. We want to try to make it easy for energy communities, especially those that are emerging. And concretely, so how does the facility work? As I was saying, we are addressing energy communities from all across Europe, mainly emerging energy communities, meaning energy communities that are just starting to create their first citizen energy community projects, but also already established energy communities that want to expand the services and the scope of actions of what they're doing. Concretely, we provide a financial support in the form of a lump sum of 45,000 euros that we hope will, with the scope, to be used to develop a business plan that they can then present to attract private investment, with the final scope of creating their first citizen energy community projects. We don't just do that, we do more than this. We accompany all of our beneficiaries in all the steps for the development of the business plan and the implementation of it through a tailored capacity building program. And we also provide them with more useful resources that can help them in the process. And I will tell you more about this in a second. As I was saying, who is eligible and where does the facility operate? We are addressing energy communities from all European Union member states, but also Iceland, Ukraine, Moldova, and North Macedonia, which are countries that are eligible under the LIFE program. And this is just to let you know who is in the background of this initiative. This is the consortium of partners that is currently in charge of implementing and designing all the financial scheme of this facility. As you can see, we have RescuPU is the coordinator, but we are also working with very experienced partners, such, for example, FEDEREN, which is the European Federation of Energy the European Federation of Energy Agencies, who is in charge of coordinating our network of national experts, Genie Finance, who, as I said, was in charge of developing this granting scheme. We also have Energy Cities, which is the European city network of cities committed to the energy transition, which is in charge of the capacity building program. And then we have two consultancies, Ecoris and Ricardo, who are in charge of evaluating all of our applications, and Acarion, who is our technical partner in charge of developing the platform and the website. We don't work alone. What I think is the strength of our facility is that we work with a network of 29 national experts. Just for your information, not all the countries are listed in this slide. It's just a visualization of it, but they are our ambassadors on the ground. I like to call them our arms and legs on the ground because as I said, we want to make the process simple for energy communities. We have identified some national experts who are in charge of promoting the call at the national level and in local language. They're also our reference point, your reference point in your country level for all possible questions regarding our grant scheme and the application process. They will support you. They will support beneficiaries in all the application process. This does not mean that they will be able to write your application for you, but you're very welcome and invited to reach out to them in case you have doubts and questions, because in fact, they won't be involved themselves in the evaluation of our applications because we want to avoid conflict of interest. But if your project is pre-selected, shortlisted by our consultant evaluators, the national experts will be called to do a feasibility check, to just check if the project that you have applied for makes sense and is actually feasible in your national context. So we really invite you to liaise with them, making sure that you don't do it at the very last minute on the last week, because it will be then difficult for them to support all of you. So you have 4 months now. I will tell you more in a second. They will also support and monitor the development and the implementation of your business plan. So as I said, the facility is mainly supporting you with this financial scheme for the development of the business plan. And in case your project is not selected, they will also support applicants and invite them to reapply. So I hope you will make good use of these very skilled experts. So what does a beneficiary get out of our European Energy Communities facility in a nutshell? So beneficiaries, as I said, need to be energy communities, and we will go into the details in the next slides. Concretely, you will get a financial support of 45,000 euros. I see that there are some questions, but I kindly ask you to keep them for the end of the presentation, and also you can rename yourself if you want. We are providing beneficiaries with a financial contribution of 45,000 euros dedicated, meant to develop a business plan. We are also providing a capacity building program that will be focused on how to develop a business plan, on all the steps that you need to develop a business plan, and how also to implement it, keeping in mind also the governance model, the citizens engagement strategy, and so on. As a consortium, we are also, as you can see here, we are also updating the country fishes that were developed under the European Energy Communities repository. So these are national overviews of the current state of the art in policy-wise on how you can develop an energy community at your national level. So we're updating these fishes to make sure that this information is clear and well summarized for all of you. We are also in the next year we will be producing some overview of existing financial opportunities for energy communities, not just at the European level but also at the national level, and they will be published in the summer of 2026. And overall, by becoming a beneficiary of this facility, you will become part of a larger network of experienced energy communities, and therefore you will have access to best practices and visibility at the European level. So we really hope that you will take this opportunity. So our program is implemented through two calls for proposals. The first one, as you saw, was just it was published on the 21st of May, and it was open yesterday. The deadline will be on the 30th of September, which means that you have 4 months to apply. We will also have a second call that will open in spring 2026. This will only stay open for 2 months. So we invite you to just keep it in mind for the future. We will, of course, organize more info sessions for the next calls. So as I was saying, we will support projects with contributions of 45,000 euros. In this call, we will support 73 energy communities, and we have a total envelope of 3.2 million euros. In order to ensure that the process is fair, we have divided the eligible countries into 2 macro regions. These are high uptake countries and low uptake countries. High uptake countries are those countries where the legal framework for energy communities is much more developed, and therefore we expect a higher number of applications from these countries, and therefore applicants coming from these countries will be competing amongst themselves. And the low uptake countries are those countries where the current landscape for energy communities is just starting, and therefore we wanted the process to be as fair as possible. And this is why we have divided Europe in these 2 macro regions. This will apply for the first call, but we will reassess this for the second call to make sure that the process with this intention of keeping the process as fair as possible. I'll now give the floor to Miriam to continue the presentation. No, I will continue this part about the timeline. Sorry for this. So as I just said, the call was opened yesterday. So from yesterday, you can start your application. How you do it? You concretely you have to register in our application platform. You have to connect to our website. You have to click on apply, start your application, apply now, and you have to create a user. You will then have to do an eligibility self-check. This is meant to check if you are actually eligible and if you meet all the requirements to apply to the facility. For your information, this eligibility self-check is also available when the course is closed. You can use it at any time to check if you're eligible for the facility. If you answer positively to all the questions, you will be able to start your application. If not, you won't be able to do it. But just be aware that our evaluators will also check concretely if what you declare is true through the application form. And then, as I said, you will be able to start your application form, which will be open until the 30th of September 2025. As I said, in this period, you will be able to liaise with your national experts. If you have concrete questions about the calls and the calls documents, you are invited to liaise directly with your national expert in your country. You can do it in your national language. After that, after September, we will have 2 months of evaluation that will last until December, so October, November, until mid-December. And in mid-December, we will inform you of the selected. You will receive before Christmas. Hopefully, it will be present. You will receive the answer about your eligibility and your successful application. And after December, we will have 2 months until beginning of February, where you will have to, we will do the grant agreement preparation. What is very important for you to know and to remember is that if your application is selected, you will receive an email in December, and you will be invited to fill in some data to prepare your grant agreement, and you will have 2 weeks to do it until the 9th of January. So I know it will be over Christmas, but please make sure that one person from your energy community will monitor their emails about this. So we will then do the grant agreement preparation. You will be invited to sign the grant agreement, and then you will be able to start eventually your project. You will receive the first payment of 50%. 50% of the 45,000 euros will be paid at the beginning of the process, and then you will have 6 months to develop your business plan until, if I'm not mistaken, June, July 2026. Then your business plan, you will have to submit your business plan through our platform, the same that you will have used for the application part, and then your business plan will be validated, and then you will just be invited to provide us with some information regarding the implementation. We will do some monitoring, both of the development of the business plan and of the implementation. And while you will have to develop the business plan, you will also have to follow the capacity building program that will be held at the same time offline. So you will be able to do it following your own time. So just for the purpose of, as I said at the beginning, this presentation will be uploaded on the website. So here is another visualization of the deadlines. So as I said, open up, and I just repeated it, so I won't repeat myself. And now I leave the floor to Miriam to continue the presentation.
Thanks so much, Sophia, and hi everybody. Nice to see so many of you online. Yes, I'm going to go through some questions that we've already received up until today. So one of the things communities have asked us quite a lot is, what does a business plan include? So I'm going to go through the main overarching elements here, and we will be sharing the template that the facility will develop in the coming weeks so that you can have a look at it already during the application phase. So basically, a business plan includes several elements. So the financial analysis, where you do an assessment of the project's investment needs, you look at the revenue streams that you expect, operational costs, so that you show how you want to ensure the long-term sustainability of your project. There's an element about technical analysis, where you look at the feasibility of your project, how you want to design it, the implementation strategy, and so on and so forth. It also includes a market analysis, where you assess and reflect on the current market conditions for energy communities in your country, and you showcase how you plan to use opportunities and overcome challenges. We also plan to include a section on social and community aspects, so looking at how you plan to ensure open participation, citizen engagement, social inclusion, and expected social benefits for the broader community. And there will also be a legal section where you will have to show how the initiative complies with EU and national definitions for energy communities. This includes an analysis of the legal provisions and enabling frameworks. And as Sophia said, this is something that the facility provides. to an extent. So we have those country fiches where you will be able to have a look, and you can also touch base with national experts who are well up to date on the national frameworks. So this is just to give you a bit of an overview idea of the elements that we consider important for developing the business plan, because these are the elements that then afterwards investors will be looking for. We can go to the next slide. So this taps into a few questions that I've already seen in the chat and maybe answers some of them. The eligibility criteria are that an applicant needs to be a legal entity already. So we have decided that emerging groups that are still kind of in the informal stage are not eligible under the facility, because we need to have a certain level of constitution already for you to be able to manage the grant. This being said, if you're in the process now and you're set up next year, as Sophia said, there will be a call next year. So hopefully, even if you're still in the informal stage, by next year, you will be able to apply. Then the applicant needs to comply with the EU definition of an energy community. And to get back to a question that was asked earlier, that applies both to citizen energy communities and renewable energy communities. And also maybe to answer another question that I saw, if you're an organization that was not necessarily set up to be an energy community and you want to expand your activities towards energy, that is perfectly fine, and that's applicable as long as you comply with the EU definitions and the eligibility criteria overall. So in the eligibility self-check that Sophia mentioned and that is on our website, you will have very specific questions. So we don't just say, do you comply? And we expect you to know what it means to comply with the renewable and citizen energy community definitions, but we ask you very specific questions and we give you information on what is considered eligible. So hopefully when you go through the self-check, you will be able to see whether your organization fits the definitions. Then, as Sophia already mentioned, applicants must be based in one of the eligible countries under the LIFE program. You've seen them earlier. And also you need to commit to completing the monitoring and impact measurement questionnaires and to follow the capacity building program. We measure your commitment by asking you to sign a letter of commitment by the time you submit the application, and we're providing a template for that. Then, to give you a sense of the way that the applications will be scored, so you're seeing here on the slide, and you have them in the application document, in the call documents as well, the main topics that we're looking at, or that our evaluators will be looking at. So one is about community operation and readiness. One is about the project ambition. One is about the coherence and plausibility of your project within the local context or national context. And then one is about the impact on the local community. So you can see the different sub-criteria here. What I wanted to focus on is that the total possible points for each application is 25, and you will need to reach a minimum of 15 points in order to be considered eligible. So even if we only receive 50 applications in the first call, but some of them don't reach the 15 points, you will not be considered for the grant if you don't reach those points. And in addition, you can see just above that there is a maximum of points for each of the sections, but also a minimum pass level to reach those to be eligible, because we also consider that if you're not at a specific level within each of those sub-criteria, then it will also be difficult for you to implement. So this is the scoring system is not meant as a penalization in any way. It's just that we consider, based on our experience, that you need to have a certain level of readiness on these aspects in order to be able to actually implement the work program afterwards. Next slide, please. Then we wanted to point you to some useful documents on the website of the facility. If you go, you can see here on the section apply, and then you go to call documents and FAQs. You will find the call for proposals, where the deadlines, the criteria that Sophia just mentioned are all listed. The guidelines for applicants, where we go through the entire application process, the different steps in a lot more detail, and we explain what we're looking for. There's also the application form already. So you can see all the questions that we will be asking, and we provide some additional information on what kinds of elements we're looking for in case we felt maybe you needed some more clarification in addition to the questions. Because for the eligibility self-check, when you start the application process, if you don't pass the self-check, then you can't access the application form. So we wanted to make sure that you already can see all the questions in advance so that you can prepare the contents for the application. And then we have a document of frequently asked questions, which is a long list of questions already. And I'm sure that we will be adding some more after today. And we hope that most of your questions will be answered through this. And if you have more questions, as Sophia said, feel free to reach out to your national experts. Next slide, please. How to apply? Very simple, ideally. You can see on the homepage of the facility, as of yesterday, there is this button to apply now. So when you click on this, you will be able to set up your account. Very important point, as with most places where you sign up for where you create a new account, they will ask you to confirm your email by clicking on a link that you receive in your inbox. This sometimes lands in the spam folder. So when you create your account, make sure to check your spam folder in order to activate the account. And from there on, it should be rather intuitive, but we will also be putting some specific guidance online. So in case you have any issues, and there is an email address provided for our IT team in case you get stuck at the technical level, and don't hesitate to get in touch. Then there is the help desk, another place where you can check in with us. As you can see here, there is the IT support email. So as I mentioned earlier, if you have any issues with the registration to the application platform, you can contact the IT team. And then below you will see, it will ask you to select your country. And this way you will automatically be redirected to the national expert of your country. So this is the place, if you have any questions on the application process, on the business plan and so on, to get in touch with us through the help desk. Next slide, please. Sophia, did you want to take over here?
Sure. So maybe, as I said at the very beginning, please check our website in the events page, where you will find information of the upcoming info sessions in the national language. Some of them are already published, some will be published in the next days. The experts are just organizing them, and you will be able to register for them and to follow this same presentation in local language. And also you will be able to meet your national experts and know his her face. We also invite you to register to join, if you haven't done it already, to join our newsletter, where we share information about the facility in general, the main outputs of the project, and of course the information regarding the calls and the documents, and also to follow us on LinkedIn, where we also share very relevant information.